And this is everybody's favorite segment. So nice that now it happens live on Thursday nights, and it has its own show and its own podcast, and it is called Dave Meltzer Dumb Moment of the Week.
This just in, we have confirmed that Dave Meltzer fears PWT and flutes.
What we're going to start with is Dave Meltzer just arguing with people. And then we have a bunch of clips to get into, but he's just arguing with a bunch of people, coping over the fact that he doesn't know what he's talking about, and he's very biased, and he's lied, and all of these things. And so some of these narratives he's created are starting to collapse around him. And one of these things Dave Meltzer likes to say is, there's storytelling in AEW. The stories are so deep, Brian, that people just don't understand. Lex Luger doesn't understand the story.
I don't know.
Neither does anyone else. The stories are so deep. They go so deep within me. So Dave Meltzer responds to this person here who says too many matches on AEW pay-per-views. And again, he's responding like, look, this person, Stephen Lee, is responding to like four people, like four sickos. Dave found this out of nowhere and then is like, I'm going to bury this random Mark who doesn't like AEW, and then I'm going to block him probably after. It's probably what Dave did. So Stephen Lee goes, too many matches on AEW pay-per-views, main event lacking due to too many titles, low record ratings and attendance, and the big one, no storytelling, are criticisms, right? And then Dave Meltzer goes, no storytelling means you don't even watch the show. Just telling this guy he doesn't watch AEW because he has fair criticism.
Poor people don't like AEW.
And the other thing, too, is that this guy listed like 5 things, and then Dave just zeroed in on one thing and then went, except Batman, right? I'm going as Batman for Halloween, Brian. I'm going as Phil Marks for Halloween. And so Dave Meltzer, he is like, you don't even watch the show. It's like, bro, David, he's just such a dumb. And again, I quote tweeted this before. My response might even be embedded somewhere within this segment, but I believe it is. But this guy responds to Dave, and he's like, I've watched AEW good enough that there's no storytelling. I mean, this guy's not good at writing in general, so it's easy to pick on this guy, and that's why Dave avoids like me, but he'll like pick on this guy who doesn't, I don't read good, right? Simple Jack over here. No, shout out Stephen Lee. But Cody, that's when everything went downhill for AEW. Heck, I'll be nice and say since Punk was in AEW, Wrestle Dream was my first AEW pay-per-view in 2 or 3 years, good matches yet, whatever. He just doesn't like it. And so Dave goes, you don't watch it means you don't even watch. Is that what it means, Dave, or does it mean you're just a shill and you're personally offended by this because you love AEW? So Glenn Gilberti, Disco Inferno, tells Dave that he needs to learn,
baby, learn, Meltzer Inferno.
And he says, it's Kermit the Frog here. It's poor storytelling. If you miss a show or two, they don't care to fill. I have a terrible Kermit. I admit it. I crushed. I debuted my Maven impression the other day. Crushed. This one, not so much. I gotta like set it up by doing Kermit first. But Disco just says, 2, they don't care to fill you in on the details of what the story is with video packages. People like you that watch every minute of every show with photographic memory can't comprehend this obvious fact. It's not even that, Disco, because he only watches AEW like that. He doesn't watch like WWE the way he watches AEW. And so Eric Bischoff had shit to say about we covered this before, right? Like Eric Bischoff was talking about like people fantasize to be a part of the business. The most obvious of these cases is Dave Meltzer. Between his delusional takes, desperate need to convince people he has access to inside information, he's more a comedian at this point than a source. Hey, that's my job. No, grateful that social media and access to real info has exposed him. It's entertaining to watch. That it is, good sir. There's podcasts about it, I've heard. So Dave Meltzer says, Eric, actually, I don't know if you knew this, but many people told me, many people told me you have a show on Saturday. Shouldn't you be promoting your wrestlers? Instead of talking that you've got the pro debut of the greatest women wrestler in U.S. history. Dave, here's the problem. You talk shit all the time about him. So what do you expect he's going to do? You talk shit all the time. You fantasy Mark Book Conan getting fired. You're like, Eric Bischoff doing this show. Outdraw AEW then. He did. Oh, outdraw Conan. You're a booker. Do better than Tony Khan then. He is. You talked all this shit. So they're going to barb back and slap you around. Plus, it's trendy to make fun of Dave. Woman wrestler in U.S. history. I'll do your job for you here. You're stuck in a weird obsession that dooms your happiness. Think about what type of projection and how he has this visceral feeling to come up with shit like you're stuck in a weird obsession that dooms your happiness. Bro, Dave, you fantasy Mark booked Conan getting fired. Literally, he was getting inducted into a Hall of Fame. You lied and said he wasn't on the commentary team. And then you fantasy Mark booked, well, maybe he's fired. Maybe he's done after this. With a smile on your face. You don't get to talk about weird obsessions. We're all weirdly obsessed with pro wrestling. That's one thing for sure. You don't get to be a lol cow and then call people weirdly obsessed. Though. You don't get to do that, bro. You're the fucking clown. We're milking you for laughs. Your reaction is funny. Okay? And this is a funny projection reaction here. It dooms your happiness. I think Bischoff's pretty happy. I think you're miserable. Whenever you're talking WWE, you sound fucking miserable. Okay? Anyone with half a brain sees through you, and you're stuck playing to the most naive. Dave, you have 50% off fire sales every month. And he wonders why that's a bad idea. Hey, we have this product here. Everybody who buys in early, it's worth $14.99 but if you sign up now, though, you get half off, and that lasts until, it's just going to be half off for a while. But you guys who pay the full price, you all just pay the full price still. Doing fire sales and shit. Like, Dave, you have completely made a joke of yourself. And he sits there and just projects. Anyone with half a brain, you're stuck playing to the most naive. You mean the people still buying into your bullshit and AEW's bullshit? I don't think so, man. But take AEW out of it. The people buying into your bullshit, Dave. But you've got to okay. So if this is brain dead, if it's brain dead and naive to listen to someone like Bischoff, then what is it to listen to Dave, who got tricked by a fucking fake fanfic memo in a Fightful Discord? So what is that? What is it when you just lie about these AI stories, or lie about Vince Russo, or lie about people being dead who aren't dead yet? It's crazy. This guy's he's just such a prick. But you've got a company to run, and the only people who know the first thing about it in your next show are observer readers. The only people who know about his show and the next show are observer readers. This is what Dave thinks. He's such a condescending fucking cocky
poor people don't like AEW.
And he's so full of shit. So MMA fans, so Bo Nickel fans, Bo Nickel got sunned. He got fucking G-checked. He got fraud checked in his last fight. And they still put him on the next pay-per-view because they know what kind of numbers he does. Not that they're like, Conor McGregor numbers, but like Bo Nickel has a fan base built in. They're putting him on the pay-per-view again, even though people are like, what the fuck? Maybe they should put him on like the, headlining the prelim or whatever. You don't think Bo Nickel brings eyeballs and Holly Holm and Chael Sonnen? Chael Sonnen's YouTube channel that dominates yours, Dave Meltzer, and has for years, dominates you guys. You don't think Chael brings an audience? Oh yeah, only observer readers. There's none of those left, Dave. Nick LoPiccolo says, this is rich, Dave, because I've been doing your job for months while you hide behind a paywall, rewriting your own mythology. You've spent 40 years pretending proximity equals credibility. It doesn't. That's not journalism. It's nostalgia. You're not the conscience of this business. You are the ghost of it, clinging to old feuds, trying to stay relevant off the backs of the people actually building it. Exactly. Dave. Dave is trying to take credit for hyping up amateur wrestling again. Like, he's literally taking credit for that. No. You don't get to do that. You didn't put the dollars down. You didn't fucking, you don't get to do that, buddy. And Nick LoPiccolo says, and now it makes sense why Eric's underlying post hit 269K views and your quote has 396 with 218 retweets, manufactured engagement, fake news. The same as the work you've been selling for decades. Boom, roasted, cooked them. Roasted him. And so Dave Meltzer responds to this person, Meowler, who says, whenever anybody says anything slightly critical of Dave's face on the Superman Captain Savaho here, and then Meltzer goes, you have to lie pretty hard to get a response from me, but there you go. And then I quote tweet and go, that's why Dave doesn't respond to me. I only speak facts. It's just layups, man. It's just layups at this point. So Dave Meltzer, again, he just shills and gets fucking angry and won't respond to Raj Giri. He won't respond to Nick LoPiccolo either. He won't respond to Phil Marks. He'll respond to other people saying what we're saying. And then then he'll jump on it to get this narrative across, to argue against something, Nick LoPiccolo or myself or Raj Giri said. We've seen this countless times. And so Raj Giri, AEW Neckbeards, post this. AEW Dynamite, they got real grabs. So AEW Dynamite 477, NXT 525, real grabs, clown show, the puppet. It's too easy. And so Raj Giri says, I've got to admit, I thought Dynamite had a great shot at beating NXT in total viewers this week because NXT had much stronger competition, but nope. That's what everybody thought. And then this guy here, Dragon FC, is like, NXT was born with a silver spoon in its mouth, handed an audience on a plate from the pre-existing larger WWE fan base to start with. Man, shut the fuck up. Nobody, okay, so when Neville was wrestling Bo Dallas, it was as big as it is now? The fuck you talking about? You guys were all just watching Tyler Black in NXT. Shut the fuck up. Nobody saw that shit. It built over time. It even took a lull where AEW was kicking its ass. So to be like, it has a built-in. Okay, so then what's going on with AEW? It just started strong. Where's its built-in Millie? You all cry about the no Millie thing because the reason people did the no Millie is because they started with a Millie. So let's keep doing a Millie. That's what, the starting episodes always start stronger. Okay, so it's around a milli. If they were still doing 900,000 viewers, people wouldn't be shitting on it as much. They'd be like, well, it does about 1 million. I mean, SmackDown's doing close to SmackDown. They can't say that, though. They can't say that. You can't say that. You can't make that argument. So again, good for me, not for thee. And then Dave Meltzer goes, this whole comparison is silly. Network versus cable are inherently different. And AEW's rating, half a brain. And AEW's ratings only comprise 63 to 64% of the homes the show is in, while NXT's are 100%. It's like, buddy, you're coping so fucking hard. And this has already been debunked, more or less debunked. And then Raj Giri says, didn't you write this last year? And then he just quotes him. Regarding the power of CW versus USA in 2013, if you take out Raw and NXT, USA averaged 504,000 viewers and 0.10 in primetime. CW, while in slightly more homes, averaged 453,000 viewers and 0.07. So I don't think the network advantage will mean a significant positive difference in the ratings, Brian. He says that when it comes to CW and USA in 2013, there wouldn't be a difference, but now he wants to say in 2025 that, CW versus USA and TBS would be different. Meanwhile, it wouldn't be fucking different, and Dave knows this because all the arguments apply. Well, the TV, cable, it's all different now. It's streaming now. Yeah, but that applies across the board still, like the analogy you made before. So Dave's just a dumbass. And yeah, moving along here, Dave Meltzer just continues to argue with folks, and he talks a bit about ratings some more. Actually, we'll go down here. Like Dave Meltzer's whole bullshit narrative of what the ratings are blew up in his face. Switchblade posted this. The BJ Bethel Dave Meltzer fake AEW Max numbers have been exposed once and for all. The NBA tip-off game did 5.6 million combined on NBC and Peacock, with 5.1, I'll round high, being on NBC. That means the game did no more than 554K viewers on Peacock. That is we'll say 11% streaming to TV ratio. We're rounding even high for these guys. 11%. 554K viewers on Peacock. That's NBA. And they also said this was one of the highest rated, whatever the fucks. Okay. So the problem with Dave Meltzer here, when he just doesn't understand what he was talking about then, I feel like. I don't think he understands what he's talking about now. And with BJ Bethel and Dave Meltzer try to spit this shit like AEW's doing 500,000 people, Brian, it's just not realistic. And here's more evidence of that. The more that people expose numbers, we're in the age of everyone showing the streaming numbers now and picking data to release, and it's always been that way, but now it's like, well, the streamers are going to get transparent. Yay, Hollywood, right? That's like the movement right now, and it's just going to blow. And then now with also real reporters reporting on WWE and ESPN and shit, it's just all blowing up in Dave's face, and it's fucking hilarious. And here's the thing. The reason this is key, but that's Peacock, man. How do you know it's not Max? Because we've looked at the charts. I've pulled up the Nielsen charts. YouTube is the king. They have about 12% of the pie. There's a pie of fucking each streamer or each company has the right. We've seen these Nielsen charts. I used to show them on the show all the time. These charts show like how much of the market share each of these companies has. YouTube dominates. It's number one. Max is the very last one above other. WBD is as a whole, all their streamers is about 1.8% of the market. So Peacock larger than that. Yeah, man. And also AEW took an L by refunding. So it should be pointed out, because I don't even think I have anything bookmarked in here to reflect this, but you guys know how Dave Meltzer infamously, like AEW starts going to Amazon to sell pay-per-views, and all of a sudden there's a magical 30%. Oh, they're doing about 30% more, Brian. 180,000 pay-per-view, 120,000. That really means like, it's more like 90,000 buys. And Amazon had to refund all the fucking pay-per-view buys from this last one. And they were giving away free money. So Amazon lost money on this last shit. Why? Maybe they're washing their hands of it. I don't know. But that just slapped Dave in the face too. Because what's Dave going to say? All the buys for Wrestle Dream are way up. Notice he's not using that lie this time because he can't. They refunded all this money. If the buys on Amazon are as high as Dave says, then this is like a huge story that like he's not talking about. You don't got Thirsty Thurston fucking, crying about this shit. You know what I mean? It's just funny. But anyways, let's move along. We have more ratings talks and arguments. We're going to get into star ratings as well. But Dave Meltzer is coping over his son, Tony Khan, and AEW. Shout out Heel Uzi with the funny commentary. And Dave Meltzer says Dynamite did 477K, 0.08. Behind NBA, Fox News, college football on ESPN2, and even with some other shows. It's the reality of the new panel plus data. NXT had a bad one as well. Even though NXT was up in some demos from the week prior, right? And even though, like in some areas, I don't want to say demos, I guess, but maybe the key demo, but in certain areas they were up week over week, and everyone predicted they would get whooped way harder than they did. Same with SmackDown. Dave's not talking about that. He's just Dynamite. Here's this big explanation, then just at the end, little NXT, I guess, had a bad one too. Fuck that show, Brian.
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
So moving along here, apparently, we talked about the fake AI story. We'll get an update on that. Let's just see, Dave. Here's more bias and lies and arguments. Okay, so Dave Meltzer, here's him, for instance, talking about WWE as well. So the last tweet we just read about Dynamite, he makes excuses, but then for Raw, this is how he writes the shit. Raw ratings from last Monday, extreme manipulations. As well as where maybe this had to be from before, because Dave dropped the whole manipulations thing with Raw. If this was recent, then fuck me. I guess it's when the Vision was around. But I think like a while ago, Dave kind of cut the maybe like a month ago. It's not that long ago, but he cut the whole like manipulations out, because as like Raj Giri and myself have pointed out, like Netflix would be able to manipulate it way more than when they say like we're down in overall minutes stream, but the viewership was higher than ever live. They could fucking easily lie and be like, well, the minutes streamed are up, or they could manipulate when the minutes streamed is up, but the overall viewers is down. They could easily just say, well, the overall viewers is up. They could easily lie that way, but Dave doesn't understand that. So Dave goes, Raw ratings from last Monday, extreme manipulations as well as where SmackDown fell in the weekly standings. And he says extreme manipulations like it's not a manipulation. Dave, when you fucking like put a spin on all of this shit and sit there and write all of this behind, like, even with some other shows, the reality is, I mean, the new Big Plus panel and you with your infamous spins and, saying like the other week we caught Dave Meltzer. He picked the high number for NXT or for AEW, the low number for NXT. Like, that's literal manipulation in your reporting. You know what you're doing. You're a scumbag. And then you fucking sit there and lie and act like that's what Netflix is doing. Which, like, I'm sure there's some degree of manipulation for all of these guys. Like, it's the entertainment business, baby. They're all fucking trying to get the leg up and have like in the fucking music industry, bro, these record labels and shit, like they have rooms where it's just bot farms of people streaming songs over and over and over and over and over, where they have rooms where it's just a room full of computers and tablets just streaming Justin Bieber's new album and shit. You know what I mean? So this is not like, I'm not saying like they're manipulating it that way, but I mean, they'd be able to way more blatantly with the whole minute stream being down sometimes, but then the ratings up overall. And then they just lie and say, why wouldn't you just go full force with the lie? I'm jumping Jeff Farmer. I'm going full force. And Dave just doesn't get it. And he's just confused. And more people like Nick LoPiccolo are going to continue to own him. Speaking of which, Dave goes, I cover business. You need to learn, Brian. I cover the business. And so this guy here, Jose Sanchez, say, okay, with all due respect, you have put over AEW a lot. That feeds into people feeling this way. There you go. Like, that's the simplest thing you could say. You put AEW over too much. People feel a type of way about it. Dave can't accept it. I cover business. Real businessmen are fucking hooting and hollering and laughing.
Shut up, bitch.
When he says dumb shit like this. So Dave goes, I cover business. That would require, talking. It's like, these guys, Hechicero require talking about business success. Yes. Do the same for, WWE, CMLL. Well, CMLL, Hechicero is, NJPW. On this app, there is a tremendous amount of misinformation, which I correct. Bro, you don't correct shit. Nobody's riding your wave, bro. Celtsy Meltsy, you're feeling yourself too much. No one cares what you say anymore. You literally don't understand your perception, how people view what the fuck you have to say. But people who say anything else don't read. What does that mean, Dave? So if I disagree with you, I don't read what? Like Huckleberry Finn? Like I haven't read a book? My fucking whole show's reading. What does that mean? It's just such a vague, redacted thing to say. It's just dismissive. It's just dismissive, and there's no merit to what he's saying here. Since those who do say nothing of the sort, and those complain, or the fraudcasters, you can clearly tell they don't actually read. It's like I'm reading you right now, bro. We got you read like a book. We're in a whole other library, doggy. So Nick LoPiccolo goes, you don't cover business, Dave. You cover fanfic with star ratings. Oh, man. We're going to get into those in a bit. Pardon me. You've spent 40 years grading matches like a Yelp critic while people who actually build this industry negotiate billion-dollar mergers. Exactly, Dave. What business are you studying? Well, many backstage. Yeah, Terry Taylor's being paid to tell you fake shit because they don't want to leak to fucking Sheets and you just believe everything he says, huh? That's many sources. That's many people, Dave, huh? Manny. Actually, I meant Manny. Manny Fernandez. I definitely didn't just make him up, Brian. So you don't understand media rights or even what I write because it's not about your comfort zone of stars and nostalgia. Boom. You're a relic of tape trading, pretending to be a reporter in a world of streaming rights, balance sheets, and shareholder calls. You don't correct misinformation. You create it. Boom. What you do isn't business and it isn't journalism. It's cosplay. Perfect time of year for it, though. It is Halloween. Yeah, dude. Dave's been masked off for Halloween, though. He's been fully masked off. Shout out my guy, Nick LoPiccolo, as well. And shout out the fucking, like, superstars out there. You know you are putting over PWT on the low ski. Shout you all out, man. Much love to Nick. He's been sharing my shit around and stuff. It's appreciated a lot. Nick says you don't cover business, you cover fanfic with Star, but you cooked him, bro. You cooked him. Someone made the analogy that, you know, Nick put him in the coffin already. Now he's just opening it up once in a while to slap him around a little bit, which is pretty good. So, yeah, man, what is this one? So Dave's Delusion. Yeah, this is a good one here. So Neckbeards, right? He posted this. He says, this is a good throwback when he goes, I remember Dave Meltzer said Bobby Eaton was the Nick Jackson of his era, right? Like Bobby Eaton was Nick Jackson of his era. Like that means anything, dude. Right? And we see the Observer glaze the Bucks like so fucking hard, man. It's not even funny. But this is back in 2020 at the start of the year. And this guy says, say what you want about the Jim Cornette. At least he can handle himself. But you better tread carefully about implying Bobby Eaton into this conversation. Thou shalt not discriminate. And so Dave Meltzer goes, you know, he was one of the greatest of his era. He was that era's Nick Jack.
Stupid idiot.
I can't even believe that, dude. I can't even believe that. So I think you'd say Nick Jackson is this era's Bobby Eaton. But again, like even that comparison's fucking stupid. But or maybe it's not in like a tag team sense, but it's just such a deep cut. Like people don't know. Oh my god. People know the Bucks, man. A lot of people don't know like their names are Matt and Nick Jackson, okay? But sorry, some will short circuit even though it's accurate. Dave, who literally we have documented short circuits on air and is an AI robot and loses to Grok in debates. MJF and I just had that discussion where we both came to the same conclusion from his studying tapes and me seeing both teams live. And then he's trying to glaze himself, me and MJF. And this is the thing with MJF, like he fucking glazes Elbu and Meltzer and all these people who cover him good and shit. It's just the truth. It is what it is, man. People, you know, you're friendly with folks, but if he's sitting there with MJF, you think MJF would be smarter to the fucking biz than that, sitting there deliberating with Meltzer? And MJF would have been what, that 5 years ago? 20? Like, all right, you know, were you even alive during the Attitude Era, bro? That's right. We're gatekeeping wrestling, man. And of course, this comes off the back of like Tony Khan comparing Moxley to Harley Race. And then Meltzer also compared the Bucks to Ric Flair. So Dave Meltzer in the Wrestling Observer, and I also had this bookmarked. He goes, he says that the upcoming Dynamite #1 contenders 4-way tag match featuring FTR, the Young Bucks, Jurassic Express, and Jet Speed on Wrestling Observer Radio. He said that FTR and the Young Bucks are the greatest tag teams of the last 20 years. They are. He highlighted their ability to elevate opponents, comparing the Young Bucks' impact to Ric Flair's. Holy fuck, man. Who have the Bucks made? You'd be surprised, Brian. Who the fuck have they made? Honestly, FTR was already on their fucking way. Did the Bucks make FTR? I don't know. I think they both kind of validated each other in that era when they came over to AEW. If we're talking about like in New Japan and shit, where's Roppongi Vice? Where's fucking these teams they were wrestling? I mean, okay, yeah, you have Kazarian and TNA still, but elevate, like, bro, Flair elevated people to world champion, legitimate Hall of Fame fucking. The Bucks, like, who have they done that to? Private Party? They're fucking sitting on the bench collecting dust right now. But maybe when Dave says like in the last 20 years, I mean, 20 years ago was 2025, 2005, 2006 now coming up right away. So he's not, I mean, the Hardys were split. The Dudleys were in TNA. The fucking ENC were split. Tag team wrestling, I think, was sort of becoming in a lull of like, I think it was just like single guys would get thrown together. You might have had like the, what were they called? The Dicks or the Deuce and Dominoes, maybe some of those. I can't remember exactly what year, right? But there was like Lance Cade and Murdoch. There was like a couple of teams that floated in and out. But then you had thrown together like Mordecai and Kensuke Suzuki or whatever his name is. You guys remember that? I forget his name. Sorry, but you get these like random thrown together teams and shit. So maybe he's right. Like there was an era there where tag wrestling mostly existed in exciting ways outside of WWE. You had to look to TNA and Ring of Honor and shit like that. So maybe there's a debate in the last 20 years, FTR and Buck. Like the Bucks were super over in the 2010s. Like 10 years ago, man, they were like on fire, like blowing up. Cody Rhodes helped them take it to the next level, obviously, but the Bucks were always around, like Omega, AJ, like Carl Anderson was getting over Rhodes, and the Being the Elite stuff, the indie style. They were in Hot Topic and shit. Burn down the Hot Topic. You guys see that South Park, the goth episode? Burn down, gonna burn it down. But now you go to Hot Topic and there's just, I was traveling and I went to one of these big fucking malls in one of these big cities, right? Not too long ago, we went in the Hot Topic and it was all WWE shit, like wall to wall. That's just hilarious. Shilling biased comparisons. We're moving along. Dave has some more here. So Jose Sanchez says, if Dave prefers AEW, God bless him. All I'm saying is don't be surprised if his impartiality is questioned. Also, not sure how this makes me distraught over WWE not being put over. And that's the thing. You state objective fact to Dave, and then he goes, you're just sad and melting down and everything. It's just projection, because that's what he's doing. He's coping over AEW lately. And so Dave Meltzer says, you're still at this? It's not a secret what my favorite promotion has been this year and last. And the funny part is it has had less 5-star matches than WWE in its history. So I think what Dave Meltzer's alluding to is that his favorite promotion is CMLL the last like 2 years. And we're going to see, man, Dave is starting to admit some things about AAA that I don't think he likes too much either. But, Dave Meltzer is, he is a fan of CMLL, and we all know that Hechicero, Mystico, fucking, they draw better than WWE with casuals. Oh, I had friends over and they loved CMLL. So Dave's a new we know that. But yeah, I guess his favorite promotion is CMLL, and it's gotten less 5 stars matches than WWE in its history. But Dave, we just think you're a fucking liar. We don't believe you when you say this, because Will Ospreay has more 5-star matches than all of wrestling combined.
Tell us what you know, you goddamn liar!
It's just the math doesn't math. And you can't be like, well, okay, so here's the thing. I think, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, I think WWE main roster has the best wrestling overall consistently, personally. Oh, fucking stupid E-drone. No, not at all. Not at all. It's just like, I think consistently the PLEs deliver. They wait and give you gangbusters at the PLEs. Are every Raw and SmackDown the most exciting like they were in the Attitude Era? No. They can't even be that way anymore. Their sponsors and shit, they just can't even go that route. Has culture and times changed? Yeah. Am I really into like the storylines and shit as I get older? Yeah. Do I like when guys go out there, lay it all on the line? Do I like the old FMW? I'm a huge Etsushi Onita mark. Do I like the old fucking Hayabusa shit and I mean, even him, it's psychology, but the old New Japan shit, AJPW, they beat the fuck out of each other, the strong style, the Inoki. Of course, man. Of course. But the reason that shit was appealing to you guys, and it's the same thing with AEW, you didn't get to see it all the time. I saw it all. Yeah, Dave, you're a brain dead uber smart. We're talking about normal people. It drew huge in Japan. Yes, I know, because it was fucking exciting. And it was exciting to see in the magazines and the hype surrounding it and all of that shit. But you had to like tape trade to see some of that shit, bro. And it was the same thing with the indies and the Bucks and Kenny and what made Kenny versus Okada exciting and all the shit. You would just like see clips on YouTube. You would just see like the Young Bucks super kick party, and it's like a compilation of like 3 years of them just like landing super kicks in cool ways, and that shit got millions of views on YouTube. But their shit wasn't just readily accessible everywhere. New Japan World was wonky. It was all in Japanese. You had to get a friend's password and all this shit, and then it was still in Japanese and all this shit. So like, it's exciting. It's like foreign. It's different. How many wrestling fans talk about, man, I mean, I lived in the Northeast, or I lived up in Canada, buddy, and it was all WWF, but then we'd see on the magazines like fucking Funk bleeding or like Flair bleeding and shit. But I didn't really even see any Flair matches, and I was really drawn to it when it fucking, we've heard why, because it's like the old it's like the Catholic schoolgirl thing. Why is that a joke? They're a Catholic schoolgirl, so they're slutty. Get it? People defy their parents. They they go to the abnormal. They fucking reach out. People are different from their folks and shit a lot of the time. Why? Because they, like, someone says don't do this thing as a kid, you go and do that thing. You know what I mean? And that's what it is. It was just something that was out of reach. Now that we can see it all, there's 10 billion wrestling shows. Everything's just on YouTube. Everything's on a pirate ship. We all have 7 different links if we really need in our back pockets. We have it's just all there. It's all in your face constantly, all day, every day. It's just the allure isn't the same, and so this is why Dave can say like, oh, I don't fucking I prefer CMLL, but it's like, you're faking the funk, buddy, and we can tell because of your star ratings. So speaking of which, these are the star ratings for Wrestle Dream. Like, you would think this was the greatest, just looking at all these stars, it's like, so this is the greatest event ever held in pro wrestling. So Dave Meltzer's ratings, the I Quit. Well, let's start at the bottom here. And like, read this stat here. 1 match rated 5 stars, 8 matches with 4 or above. How is that possible? How, bro? No one, like, all anyone talked about, if all the wrestling was that good, then we'd be like, what a fantastic card, front to back. The fishbowl thing, that was retarded, but like, at least we got all this great wrestling, and like the storytelling was on point. He's just looking at the moves. This is proof. Because if we're factoring in storytelling, crowd, heat, the people participating, all of these things, and then the match itself and what was accomplished, what comes after, like, you don't factor in what's after, but a little bit of that, because that's part of pro wrestling. Like, the finish means something because it either ends something or starts something new or reignites something, or, God. So the tailgate brawl, Willow and Harley, Megan and Penelope Ford, 2 3/4. Conglomeration versus Death Riders, a 4-star match, bro. 4 stars. Like, you're a fucking clown. They're just his opinion stars, Phil. Why do you care? Yes, they are, but he won't admit that. So we're going to clown him for his star ratings till he admits that. He condescends you. He tells you you don't read. He tells you you can't read. He tells you you're half-brained if you don't study and learn from him. Meanwhile, he doesn't even have a criteria, and he can't even admit one because he knows he's a fraud, and he just shills for certain people and sucks certain people's balls because they're his fucking friends and they sniff his taint. And he knows that he wants to shill for one company, putting his idea of pro wrestling on television at this rating. Tony Khan kisses his ass. Eric Bischoff tried to bring Dave in. It didn't work out. Dave started burying him. It's just a tale as old as time. He's a fucking fraud, and he claims his shit is objective, and he rates matches he doesn't even like higher than they should be, which is like, well, that's stupid too. That doesn't even make sense either. So it's all bullshit. FTR versus Jet Speed, 4.5 stars. Hater Tekla, 3.25. Bro, Jurassic Express and the Bucks, 4.75. So again, I've explained how Dave does his ratings now. I've broken it down. I'm in his psyche. This is why he fears PWT. This is why he fears Phil Marks. This is why he fears flutes.
This just in, we have confirmed that Dave Meltzer fears PWT and flutes.
So I figured out what he does. He picks the match that he wants to give 5 stars or like the highest rating to. And then he just rates everything accordingly from there. He even does it to AEW, but that's why you get preposterously high ratings. So he knew he was going to give. So he knew he's giving Okada, Takeshita, Brodito, because his mission right now is like this Bandito and Takeshita, I tell you. So he's giving it 5 stars no matter what. We know that he's going to give the Bucks a higher rating than FTR versus whoever. So he gave them a half or a quarter of a star more. See what I'm saying? Then he rates FTR just underneath that. He knew he was going to shit on he doesn't like women's wrestling. So he gave Megan and Penelope, Willow and Harley 2.75 stars. And then Hater Tekla just get 3.25. Like he knew he was going to rate Tekla a little higher because people like Tekla. You know what I'm saying? So he knows what he's doing. And then same with Hurt Syndicate. He has to rate it high because it's AEW. So 3.75. Can't quite give it 4. But he doesn't really like Hurt Syndicate, so it's on the lower end for this show. This is how he tries to paint the narrative and explain, this is my explanation, rather, of how he grades shit. Each card is individual. It's not like in the history of wrestling, which it would be fine if he just explained that. My highest rated match, no matter what, even if the show sucked ass, is going to get 5 stars, and then I'm going to rate everything from there. Okay. He doesn't even lay out a criteria. He just goes, it's based on how the crowd's moved. It's like a Richter scale, Brian. Okay, I don't think the crowd was any more moved for the conglomeration and Death Riders than Hater and Tekla. Fuck you talking about? 4 stars for the Death Rider? It's just crap. So Fletcher Briscoe, 4.75, because it has to do more than Statlander and Storm, which got 4 stars. Mercedes and Shirakawa, 3.25. Now, why did Mercedes and Shirakawa get 3.25, but Statlander and Storm get 4 stars? Because Dave, again, he has to rate it high because it's AEW, but at the same time, Mercedes Moné calls him a salty mark, which he is. And she buries him, so he rates her kind of lower than everyone else. I see right through Dave's bullshit because I've studied and learned him. That's what's so funny. Study and learn. I have. You're cooked. Brodito versus Takeshita. I broke that one down. It gets 5 stars because Bandito and Takeshita. He's like, Bandito and Takeshita, bro. Hangman and Joe gets 4.25. And then the I Quit match gets 4.25. So he tied those. Why? Why are those tied? Why are those matches tied? Because they're the 2 main co-main event. That's all. Well, they were both, really, the world title and the I Quit, which it was like a double main event, Brian, even though he'd cry about that elsewhere. And then FTR Jet Speed gets the 4.5 because he has to shill the part that everybody said, not everybody, but a lot of people agreed with was low rent. So we're into Dave's psyche. I've got him pinpointed and destroyed. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Dave Meltzer's Dumb Moment of the Week. I have nothing to say at the end. It all speaks for itself. Based Meltzer's Dumb Moment of the Week, maybe actually this week. Some base takes. A couple base takes.